And we're doing it.
Good evening, Eric.
Good evening, Thomas.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. It's a Saturday. Had a good day. Went on a long walk. Talked to my dad. Hung out with the ladies, the baby, and the wife, which was nice. And now I'm hanging out with you, which is also nice.
Well, it's a great day for sure.
It's beautiful, man. Life is good.
Yeah, it was pretty nice.
Cheers. Oh. Tequila in the body. I like it. How
was your week?
It was, in general, it's good. Like, have a good family, friends, life, job, plenty of activities outside of work. But, like I was telling you, I quit smoking THC. So, yeah, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, and maybe Wednesday night. Anyway, I couldn't get sleep. Like, I couldn't even try to get sleep. It was it was no good. Like, that's the whole reason why I started smoking weed in the first place, was to help get sleep. But now I'm getting a little bit better sleep. Like last night, I actually got good sleep, which is good. Like, I ended up sleeping through the night, didn't wake up until my wife woke me up to get up and do stuff. But yeah, it's been a good week. Like, work has been somewhat interesting, except for Friday. The beginning of the day was cool. We had a little project to finish up to create what's called a trapeze. It's like, imagine a metal bar that holds up two pipes. It's like a metal bar that's hanging from a metal rod. Anyway, hanging these big pipes, like 10-inch steel pipes. These things are heavy as fuck, like super heavy.
So the term trapeze refers to the circus trapeze?
Yeah, because it's very similar. It's got, it's actually got 3 rods coming down, because there's 2 pipes, so there's 1 rod in the middle of the pipes and then 1 on each side. And yeah, we did that, so that was cool. But then for the rest of the day, I was drilling holes in hangers. So essentially, like, this metal U that you hang pipes with.
Okay. Like,
the pipe sits in the hanger's U-shaped part. And there's an axle, there's a crossbar above the pipe, like, that goes from one side of the hanger to the other. And we needed the holes in the hanger's side to be larger. So I was using these drill bits. They're called step bits. So imagine a drill bit that's like a cone. So it starts off thin at the bottom or the top, whatever you want to call it. And then it gets wider as it goes up. So you can, drill down to a certain depth and get a certain diameter hole. But we needed to drill all the way through, like, to get the widest diameter available on the step bit. And oh my god, these pieces of shit, like, they're made for mild steel, and the hangers are definitely not made of mild steel. So they would just get super dull. Like, you drill half a hole and then it's dull. And now,
what do you call dull?
So it doesn't cut as well anymore.
Okay.
It's like, because it's got, essentially it's like a blade. You know how a drill bit looks. It's got sharp edges that it pulls the material away with. And the step bits are they're not hard enough to stay sharp. And so I drilled 10 holes in 7 hours. Like,
so you keep pushing? You just have to put more, you just brute force? Vertical?
Yeah, but that's the thing, is you can't put too much force, because then that burns it up even more. And so the drill is an electric drill, and it's coming from this power panel. And if you put too much pressure on it, then the drill motor has to work hard, and it'll flip a breaker, like it'll short circuit essentially.
Okay.
And so it was like every half hour or so, it would pop the breaker, and so then I'd have to go and, like, flip the breaker off, then flip the breaker back on, and then restart trying to drill. So it was just really annoying. Like, 7 hours of just not anything interesting, not anything fun, just dealing with a shitty tool that doesn't even work. Like I had, I think 4 or 5 step bits, all of them dull. Like,
Did you mention it to your colleagues?
yeah, I told the foreman, and they don't really have any solutions for me.
So they're aware that this kind of shit happens, and you're just the unlucky one today.
Basically, I felt so bad though, because it's like I'm trying to do something, it's not working out. So then I feel like it's my fault, but there's no special technique to to do it. Like you're just supposed to drill it. It's just the metal on the hanger's too hard and the metal in the step bit's too soft.
Yeah.
So that was kind of annoying, but at the same time it's completely mindless work. So I just had podcasts going on in my headset.
What have you been listening to?
I was listening to Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan Experience, because I'm a fan of the patriarchy.
Oh man, why am I even talking to you? Why did I spend so much time making a setup? Fuck, man. Get out of this place.
Yeah, man. It's really funny, like people really don't like Joe Rogan. Some people. It's and
there's a lot of stuff. I'm thinking that people who don't like Joe Rogan and hate him and everything probably listen to some shorts that were taken out of context, like a quote here and there, and yes, out of context in the middle of a speech, whatever. It might sound like the patriarchy, sexism, and whatever, all kinds of bad ism you can give him.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's curious. He has experts. He lets them speak. He asks questions. And the week after or whatever, the podcast after, he talks about the one he previously had. Tries to recollect what he out of 3 hours and of experts talking, he doesn't remember everything, but he says, oh yeah, because this person was mentioning this, and then he confronts that with another expert, and you just listen to them, and they just speak, and then you make your own opinion. To me, that's one of the best forms of podcast you can find.
I mean, it's the biggest podcast
There's
in
a
the
reason.
world.
There's a reason, and we are number 2, and we don't know how to dethrone him. Like it's
We're coming for you, Joe Rogan.
No, I haven't listened to his stuff in a while. I do look at some clips from on his YouTube channel, like 6 minutes clips. They're more like themed.
Yeah.
I don't listen to the ones overall, but I listen to a lot of Andrew Huberman.
Okay, I think I've heard the name.
Oh, he went on the Joe Rogan podcast once minimum, but maybe twice or more.
Okay.
He's an expert. He's working at Stanford, professor of neuroscience and ophthalmology, something like that. And he has a podcast where he just shares a bunch of. He talks about research about it could be hormones, sleep, fitness, nutrition, happiness, and he cites whatever he read. Sometimes he has experts like other people from Stanford and other big universities who come on the podcast and talk about their field. I listen to a lot of this stuff for optimizing my health. There's a point where there are so many things you should be doing during a day to optimize your health, and I was like, okay, I cannot do all of these things. No. At some point I need to live my life. But there's a lot of little tricks that he gives, which are simple tricks. Apparently they work. I started using them recently, so maybe I cannot notice a difference. But I do feel fresh. Like he has a podcast on nicotine. Like a whole 3 or 4 hours. He talks. He has a podcast on marijuana, and he talks about all the effects of marijuana on sleep, CBD versus THC versus, and yeah, he mentioned the impacts on fertility. He's gonna, I don't know, and on a bunch of other things. Like him a lot.
Yeah.
Like him a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's all of the people who have told me they don't like Joe Rogan, or I have one friend who said that he thinks Joe Rogan is a white supremacist.
Oh, wow. All right.
It's just like people have their preconceived notions about it. It's like the people that don't like him, they have never listened to a whole episode of his show. I'm sure of it, because he's never, in my experience, showed anything close to like white supremacy or any kind of like racism or sexism or transphobia or anything. Like the guy, he clearly loves everybody.
I heard the argument that because he proposes a platform to some people with extreme opinions to talk, then in this sense, whether he is a supremacist, sexist, or whatever, because he leaves room for people to talk about that stuff, he's he's compliant, and so in that sense he should be cancelled. Which I'm like, no, that's you cannot just blame somebody. He has the best intentions and he wants everybody to be heard. And he's actually refusing to have some guests because he knows that there's a point where he's like, no, I cannot condone any of that. That's there's no even one single argument that would convince anyone. And he also refuses, of course, everybody who actively contacts him and says, hey, I want to be on your podcast, because he doesn't want to give them just an avenue for promotion, for advertising. So he was mentioning a couple of people who contacted him a couple of times to set up a podcast. He's like, no, that's gonna, like, the fact that they're even asking, it's a very interested request.
Yeah, he refused to have Donald Trump on his podcast.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Here, maybe we should turn mine down. It keeps going in the yellow. I'm just worried it's gonna be like spiking. Okay, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, and he's called, like, there was a bunch of videos where he calls out people who have extreme opinions too.
Of course.
And whenever he thinks, or whenever he hears something that maybe it doesn't make sense or doesn't answer the question, he calls them out and he says, no, that's disingenuous. That's how I learned this word. He says it a lot. And he says, you're just disingenuous about it.
Yeah.
You're just not answering the question the exact right way. Like, you don't answer the exact question. You use a roundabout way to validate your point.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great. And also he sells himself as a moron. He says it. He's like, I'm just a moron.
He's like, I announce cage fighting. And he's a comedian.
Yeah, he's a comedian. But then again, some people would blame him or hate him because he's a moron who has such a large audience, that he has such an influence that whatever he does that could be slightly controversial, as in receiving someone on the podcast that might have controversial opinions, then he himself is a bad person. I'm not a big fan of judge only somebody by his actions. I'm way more into judging intentions, because you can do a lot of bad things with the best intentions. For instance, I could kill someone, but if that person happens to be Hitler, I mean, look, what is my intention? It's just a silly example, but you get my point.
Yeah, intentions matter. That's why it's such a big part of like legal doctrine is intentions. That's why we have difference between murder and manslaughter. Whereas you could be negligent, or you could have some accidental thing happen, whereas you didn't try to kill someone, but something that you did or didn't do ended up leading to someone's death.
And I feel that influential people are not given any leeway. Like, because they're influential, I guess they're way more judged based on their actions than their intentions. So as soon as they do something, even with the best intentions, they're not trying to. Some people will not try to explain their action. They're like, well, he did this, that's bad. He's an awful human being. It's like, well, wait a minute. What is the context? When did that happen? What happened before? And I feel like influencers in general, I'm thinking about YouTubers as well, there is way less leeway on them. People are way less lenient on them. And some of them, because of that, whatever they say is going to be used against them. And it's very hard for some to defend themselves. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Yes, you're influential, but at the end of the day,
yeah, that's the thing, is people are just people. Like, yeah, like you said, people who are in the public eye, they get scrutinized way more than general people, random people on the street. What was I gonna say? Fuck, I lost it. Anyway.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of accusing somebody of being compliant because they they leave room for somebody to expose his opinion, not to expose, to share his opinions, and as controversial as they might be. It's like, yeah, but if you want to debate, then you need to hear every side.
Exactly. It's like people, they think that someone who doesn't agree with them shouldn't be allowed to talk at all.
And it feels like, I'm thinking about YouTubers again, for influencers. Those are my influencers, the ones I look at.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them really don't risk it. They don't at any point. They might make a joke about a topic that is contentious, controversial.
Controversial, I guess.
My bad. Controversial.
Could be contentious.
Contentious. Okay, but they make a joke about the fact that they won't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because they really want to say, hey, I really don't want to get in there. Like, I don't want to say a single word about it. So I'm going to right away throw it out there. It's a joke about the fact that I will not talk about it. And I will not talk about it because it's way too risky. And it's unfortunate, because then you have this homogenization of people that, YouTube works this way too. They encourage a specific type of content. They push a certain type of content, and they censor other types of content, or they demonetize. I mean, it's a form of censorship, right? And then you end up with, YouTube pretty much looks like TV now, where all the influencers are being very monitored, and because their income, their revenue is being
it's based on ads.
Is based on ads. Is based on other things, and yeah. So then they have to use sponsorships, but then do they feel like being sponsored by anyone? There's also a bit of like moral aspect to it. Do you want to just sell? What is that? The video game that everybody, Red Shadow Legends. Do you know of it?
No.
Oh, no? Okay.
No.
At least in France, all the YouTubers.
Red Shadow Legends?
Yeah. Free MMORPG.
Oh, okay.
You have a bunch of characters that look good, that look very cool. And if you put the name of your favorite YouTuber when you open an account, when you start the game, you get like 500 gold coins or whatever. So the game is free, but of course you can pay extra money to get new skins, new characters. That's how they make money these days. Freemiums.
Yep. Free to play, but then you can pay to win.
There you go. Yeah. So it's unfortunate that we are back to a TV setting where YouTube was this thing where like, no, everybody's free to say whatever. Well, not that much, because there's only so many videos that can be suggested on your homepage. So you gotta fight to be one of them if you want to get your revenue. Yeah. And how you do that? No controversial topics. Everything clean. Nothing sexual. Nothing racist. Whatever. Well, of course you shouldn't put racist stuff, but
you should be allowed to say whatever the fuck you want.
But you should be allowed to. I agree.
It's like, just because you don't feel like you are a racist doesn't mean that racists don't get to talk. Like, it's much better to hear what they have to say and then say something, in contravention of that, rather than just saying, oh no, these people can't talk because they're pieces of shit or whatever. Like that, I hear a lot of like progressive news, like independent news voices. They're just like, oh, these people are garbage. These people are horrible. They're disgusting. They're, it's like, no, they just don't agree with you.
Yeah. Once you get into that jargon, once you start starting those words where you directly qualify something, oh, it's a pieces of crap. It's like, yeah, well, you're not making a good point either by saying that.
No.
It's like, what? Do you just hope that I will believe you? And that, and I will start saying that too. Like, no, like, tell me the point, and then I will make my own opinion. I'm an adult. Just tell me what you think is bad about that person, about that idea, or that group, and I will make my own opinion. Show me the footage, show me whatever, boom. And then I will look into it, and I'll decide who I want to watch or who I want to listen to.
Yeah, it's, people just think that you can be influenced so greatly by hearing someone's opinion, and then it's like, if you agree with someone's opinion or you don't agree with someone's opinion, that's whatever. It's like, people are not good or bad. Everybody's a collection of quote unquote good, bad, in between stuff. It's like, actions can be good or bad, but people are just people, man. Like, everybody's just trying to do the right thing, Even, like virulent racists, they don't think like, oh, I'm trying to make the world a worse place by being racist about whoever or whatever. They're just they think that the world will be a better place if, XYZ is true. Like, everybody's trying to make the world a better place in their, ridiculous way. Ah, shit. Is it yours at some point?
No, mine's good. Replug yours.
Yeah. Plugged it back. Oh, okay, there I am again.
Yeah,
my bad.
It's finicky. Always keep it there.
It's a good idea.
You wanna say all that again?
No. I can't remember what it was.
I don't know when it stopped working, but it's like, okay, well, on you go again.
Well, your microphone probably picked it up anyway, because we're so close.
But you were talking about that as well. I was thinking, feelings, people have feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything good or bad about feelings. If you feel something about someone or something about something, I don't think I can judge your feeling, because your feeling is your feeling. You don't have any control over it.
Mm-hmm.
You feel this way, it's like, okay, now what do I do with it?
Exactly.
And that's when you can start judging in your actions based on your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel some way, it might be weird, it might be creepy. Okay, well, creepy because people might interpret some things out of it.
Mm-hmm. But
there's nothing good or bad about it,
mm-hmm.
I think. It's what you use it for, what you do with it, or
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's...
Yeah, it's like your reaction to your feelings. That's what you can control.
That's when you say somebody's stupid. That's basically what he did based on that feeling that, well, he felt this way, but he made a shitty move, or, okay,
mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because there are different ways to move, about the different things to do about that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are probably better than others.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely better and worse things to do in the world, but it's hard to say one person is better or worse than another person. It's like, but then you get into extreme examples of, like, you don't want to say, like, oh, Hitler, he was just a guy trying to make the world a better place. It's like, yeah, in his mind he was, but obviously he was doing very heinous, awful, horrible shit.
Yeah.
But
then again, Hitler was not awful to everyone, because there was a group of people he was trying to protect. In his definition.
Yeah.
In his words. Mm-hmm. I see you. I'll say that every time. You there. Out of the 5 people who watch, I see you. No, it's that's why it's hard for me to tell that somebody is 100% bad.
Yeah, there's nobody that's 100% bad. Like,
Be somebody who's, first of all, alone,
mm-hmm.
who did his life, who lived his life alone. Then to be able to do this, you still have to cooperate with some people.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can. You might have bad intentions, but you just cooperate with people just to get by.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, how long will you last with absolutely no one around you that you care about?
Yeah, that's a pretty extreme example, and no man is an island. No woman is an island. No non-binary people are an island.
Oh.
Nobody is an island.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Let's put it this way, yeah.
People need people.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's interesting era. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it works for me because if here I have to get into a debate about any of those big settled issues, and I kind of want to say that, but I'm also afraid that somebody's gonna snap at me, or maybe a group of people is gonna snap at me in real life.
Mm-hmm.
I can always pull the card of, I'm French. As in, English is my second language, so sorry if I use the wrong pronoun. It's just I'm not that used to it. I cannot say they all the time.
Uh-huh.
I would love to, and I can work on it, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's so confusing now.
Last time I had a conversation with someone who was talking about a friend of theirs,
mm-hmm.
and that person was saying they. At the beginning, I was like, okay, somebody is not a he nor she. I'll say they. Boom, have it. I have it. I follow, and eventually I was like, sorry, how many people were there again? So I think I lost track of it. It's just hard for me to still think they can be one single individual.
Yeah.
It's a habit, so give me a bit of leeway, please.
Mm-hmm.
You there? But yeah, I can pull that card. As I, if I use the wrong word, the wrong term, because that might have a bad connotation, I could say, oh, sorry, not my culture, didn't know. I'll remember for next time.
I don't know, Thomas. You can't really use that excuse too much because you're really good at English.
I know. I can pull my best French accent if I need to. I'm not from here.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I come from France, and we speak differently here. I'm sorry.
So, how would that even work in French for if you want to refer to a non-binary person?
Wait, there's a pronoun. There's a pronoun for that. What is the pronoun?
Like eux?
Huh?
Like eux? Like them?
You can say it. Oh, so some feminists say at the end of a verb to make a precision that they are a woman. There is that. Now,
Huh.
yeah.
How does
For
that
instance,
go?
I have an example. For instance, they would say, instead of saying me, like moi, they would say moi eux. As in, the me that's speaking is a woman.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've seen that a bit. Heard a bit, but a bit. Like, YouTube videos. So I don't know how many people use that. And that's why I'm saying feminism. I don't know how big that group is. Now, for, it's il or elle is he or she.
Yeah.
I think I guess the third one now is yel. I-E-I-E-L.
Yel.
Yeah.
Huh.
But then I don't know if that means, because it sounds like il and el together. So is it somebody that considers themselves like both, or somebody that considers themselves non-binary? But I think it's yel.
Yel.
Yel. Ouais.
So.
Yel à une voiture.
Okay. Okay. But what about the nouns in French? Can they be non-binary?
The nouns, as
like
in?
la voiture?
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Is the car a woman?
Everything is, every noun is gendered. Is sexed, at least.
Yeah.
That might, the language is based, there is feminine and masculine. So I guess this is, we could make a point that this is either a sex-based distinction or a gender-based distinction. If it's a sex-based distinction, we all agree that there is men and women for sex, then that would not change. But if we start thinking that this distinction is gender-based, and now we have like 100 plus genders, well, good luck with your car. Yeah, I don't know.
Yel est une voiture. Or no.
Yel?
Yel est something voiture.
No, yel a une voiture.
No, but I mean, the car is a car.
So yel a voiture. And the would be the gender, the new gender. It wouldn't be un, it wouldn't be une, it would be uno. Ah non,
Une.
Ah, une, ouais. Ça se peut.
But that.
Inclusive writing has changed too a bit in French.
What do you mean?
I think before, if you were not sure who you were talking to, you would put brackets at the end with the e. So you would put like a verb.
Parler.
No, like when you have an adjective, like il. I'm not sure. If you don't know who you're talking to, and you want to kind of put the feminine and the masculine together, now you put a dot, like cher, dear Eric. That would be cher, C-H-E-R.
And then E in parentheses.
Yeah, before. Now it's C-H-E-R dot E instead of parentheses. But now they use a dot for the
change in the
yeah.
Huh.
I don't know if it's a convention, as in the Academy voted that thing or not, but I've seen it more, and it seems to be prevalent on Twitter and social media as well.
Yeah.
Seems to be a convention.
Yeah.
No big deal, but
it's interesting, man. Language is changing.
Yeah.
And it always changes, so it's not a problem really.
It is not.
It just can be confusing sometimes. Yeah. The they thing. It's like I'm perfectly fine. Like, yeah, if someone wants to be they, that's fine. But yeah, like when you're talking about one person and then that, I was sitting with a friend who and they were talking about another they, and it was it was
good luck with that.
it was so confusing. It was like they were saying that, oh, they did well in this video game, and then I can't remember the whole conversation, but it was so confusing. It's just like,
oh, they were there, and then they decided to do this. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then they went there. Oh, okay. So how many of them now?
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
3 people in the car? Yeah. It's tricky. I can always pull off the second language as an excuse, hopefully, but then I'm sure somebody could say, oh, well, with your education, you should know that. It's like, okay, well, now when you get into the shoulds, you talk with people and they tell you should. It's like, well, okay, well, there's a lot of things I should do that I don't do, so what now?
Yeah, man, that's the thing is I think everything should be voluntary. Like, if you want to use they or, the 27,000 different pronouns that supposedly exist, you should be able to do that. But if you don't feel like doing that, you shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all about freedom.
Yeah.
Maybe being an American, it's just like, just do whatever you want to do. And people just take it so personally, as if it's like an attempt to offend, as if it's like an attempt to deny someone their humanity.
Like, no, I'm sorry, I'm just not precise enough about the way I'm speaking, or maybe I don't use the right terms, but at the same time, I'm just coming with the best intentions. I know, I agree. And then again, some people might not be very lenient with you. It's like, well, but you should be using that. It's like, well, okay, I should, but a lot of things that you should be doing too. Like, we all should be doing other things. The world would be a better place if we were all doing what we should be doing. So give me some slack and let me keep going with my point. Kinda. That's one of the things I'm worried about. Is I would love to get into those debates, but I'm always afraid that if I start using a word or an expression that is wrong, people would cut me halfway during my argument, and they would say, "Oh, by the way, don't say that." I'm like, and that would like throw me off. I'll be like, "Yeah, okay, but do you need to tell me that right now?
Yeah.
Or can I finish my sentence?" I was using this last week as an analogy. Imagine you're presenting a PowerPoint of some sort of presentation.
I don't use PowerPoint, so.
You know what it is. Come on, Mr. PhD. Come on, doctor. So imagine you're making a presentation, and the content is good, it's high quality, you're totally in your field, and that's totally relevant. But maybe the form is not good, so maybe it's not a PowerPoint, and that's the problem. And somebody halfway tells you, by the way, that looks like crap, this is not a PowerPoint. You're like, okay, well, how is that helping the content, the delivery? You can tell me that later, because I'm not going to make a PowerPoint right now, because you told me to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's like, what should I do for the rest of my presentation?
Exactly. So wait 10 minutes, I finish my presentation, then tell me it looks like crap, but at least the content is okay. That's exactly what it would be if you're in a debate where you're trying to provide content, like arguments and so on, and you're open to also be convinced. And halfway somebody just cuts you off, so, oh, by the way, you're just using the wrong term, so you're a piece of whatever. Yeah. Like, well, thank you, but I was kind of saying interesting things so far, and then you cut me off, and you're making it a problem, actually. Like, are we getting into a segue debate about what I'm saying, as opposed to how I'm saying it, as opposed to what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm kind of afraid of that. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to get in there. I'm like, because if somebody gets there with me, I'll be like too tired. I'll be like, and if I do this, then the person might react and say, "Oh, well, what now? Whatever." Like, no, it's not helping. Yeah. But I don't want to get in there, so let me.
That's the thing. Is like, sometimes people are just lazy. Like, everybody is lazy. Like, people. Oh, submission. Boom. Sorry, we're watching UFC right now, not just randomly losing the thread. But yeah, people should be allowed to be lazy in their speech and in the way that they, handle themselves. Like, it's very cool if someone wants to go through a lot of effort and try and, say all the right pronouns and say all the right words. But I just don't like the authoritarian nature of how I don't even know what you would call them. Not progressives or like liberals or left, because those are not good descriptors. But yeah, these type of people that are super woke, let's just call it woke.
Sure.
Like super woke people, it's like they don't want people to oppress others with their language, but you're oppressing people by trying to force them to use your language. Like, it's...
Maybe those people also think that they're being attacked when their language is not being spoken.
Mm.
And as such, they feel defensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I were to get into a debate, I would be open to be not attacked, but I would be open to, okay, this other person is going to speak a different language.
Mm.
They have a different opinion, so they will use a different jargon as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I shouldn't be offended when they use it, unless I feel that it's directed at me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, they use a word like maybe 2-3 times, and I'm like, okay, that's a commonly offensive word, and using 2 or 3 times in a row, and that I kind of fit the description of that word. So, are you trying to get at me? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would not assume, if they say it once, I would not assume, oh, okay, they were trying to trigger me.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're not. And eventually I'm like, okay, I'm picking up a vibe like you're trying to get at me, or I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
trigger me somehow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I will always try to be just open. Like, it's kind of hard, I guess, to show yourself vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, well, but I think that's what it means to be open to debate.
Mm-hmm.
Is you're giving a chance to people on the other side to change your opinions.
Yeah, well, that's what a real debate is.
I agree.
Whereas a lot of people are just not open to their opinions or their views being changed. They know that whatever they believe is the truth, and they're just trying to force that down your throat, essentially.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you know, I've had these conversations with people where it's just like they clearly have an agenda. That's one. It's like they just want to convert you. It's like religious people that are super religious, and they want everybody to be super religious in their own religion.
Yeah.
And what's hilarious is, you know, so many of these woke people are not religious, but they have their own like religion that they've you know, subscribed to, which is not a church or whatever, but it's like this set of beliefs that everyone in this community has to hold. Otherwise, if you don't hold those beliefs, then boom, you're out of the community.
Yeah.
Like, you're not one of us anymore.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's difficult to talk with people who are that biased.
Mm-hmm.
It's biased because they care, and
Mm-hmm.
that's great. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, it's always coming from a good place
Exactly.
of wanting to be nice and
Yeah.
helpful and open to people.
But then if these people engage in a debate having that much of a bias, then they will not come into this debate like open to change their opinions. They will, as you say, they will try to convert.
Yeah.
They will try to persuade over convince.
Persuade over
In French, what I learned was back then. What I learned was convince is you want to use reason. Persuasion, you want to use feelings, emotions.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, you can use just straight arguments, like rational arguments. Here is the facts. Here are the facts. This is what I understand from them.
Mm-hmm.
If you understand something different, let me know. But I'm open to understanding to interpret those results in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think persuasion would come to like, oh, this person is a racist piece of shit. It's like, okay, well, there's no rational argument in that statement.
Yeah.
You're trying to just make me feel that he is also a bad person because you're my friend or whatever, somebody that I'm friendly with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, you'll need a bit more to convince me. So that's
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, and that's the thing is, you know, I feel like I'm saying these things. It sounds like I'm like hating on woke people in general, but I don't have a problem with woke people. It's just I do have a problem with authoritarianism. People trying to force their beliefs on other people like that. Fuck that forever.
I agree. When people mention censoring from any side, you're already talking. Okay, let's think about it. If you censor someone in the sense like fully canceling someone, let's see what's. Yeah, I agree that there could be cases where somebody deserves to be cancelled. But then again, it would be like, well,
like who would you cancel, or like who in the general sense of like what type of person?
I'm not sure if pure hate speech. I am for freedom of speech of all kinds. But then you could say something heinous like that you hate about someone or another group of people and whatnot. When you start getting into action, like when you start talking about taking action towards those people.
I mean, like action, like canceling them. And
so
stuff.
let's say you say, oh, I hate this group of people because of XYZ. Reasons, good reasons or bad reasons, I don't know, whatever. Okay, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it, and you can actually talk about it online. Like, I would be okay with that. That's still like, that's harsh, but at the same time, well, you gotta accept all of them.
All of the
opinions.
Yeah.
You gotta stay open for that. But when you start saying, okay, that day, let's go to that place where they have the special event and let's, I don't know, bomb them, kill them. Like when you start talking about making actions because you hate those people so much that you say, hey, we're gonna take action that day. Be careful. Like, and maybe you'll be rallying some people around you because maybe you're influential enough. I mean, when you're talking about taking action, which is like pretty heinous, I don't know.
Yeah.
It becomes difficult because I could give an opinion and say I don't like that. Why? Because I had a bad experience with these people, and it's a repeated experience. You could say, I met this kind of people 10 times, and 9 times out of 10 it was something bad. Whatever it is, I don't know. And it depends on, of course, where you're from, where those things happened. People have all kinds of reasons to do their stuff. But when you're a human being, and 9 times out of 10 people from a specific group or doing something bad to you, well, it's rational to start making this conclusion that, well, most of these people are bad. I can sympathize with that idea. When it's 9 times out of 10, it's like, fuck it, that's a lot. And I would say, yeah, but don't remember, there was one person that was nice to you, which means there are good ones out there. I will try to focus on that. But I cannot be mad at someone thinking this way based on their experience. But then when they start saying, okay, now we have to take action, we're going to do something bad against them, we're going to get rid of them, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, nah.
Yeah, no. That's, like calls for violence, like targeted harassment, doxing. There are certain things that don't belong in like the free speech arena. You can't be on the internet talking about, okay, we're gonna go fucking in Kanye West's words, we're gonna go DEFCON 3 on the Jews or whatever. Like, no, like that.
But then what do you do?
I mean, that shit was hilarious to me, but it's like, obviously it's not. I mean, it's not good, but at the same time, it's like, just let him fucking spew his nonsense and dig himself deeper into his own hole.
Yes. But then, what if you are only talking about opinions, not even talking about taking actions, but for some reason you're influential enough, not like Kanye influential necessarily, but some people actually take actions later because of something that you said. Like, let's say you say something on a forum and somebody takes it to word and like, okay, well, this guy's gonna do this, I'm gonna show up there and gonna do I'm gonna take action myself, like somebody else says that. Now it's very hard because you just express your opinion, but somebody heard it, somebody listened to it, and somebody escalated. But at the same time, I am responsible for my opinion. I'm not responsible for the actions that other people will take.
I was just going to say the exact same thing.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
but the net effect is some people might be dead out of that. And it's still hard to... But then you can go to this other world where you censor all kinds of heinous speech. All kinds of... So pretty much you're deleting one big side of the debate and of the talk. So then the talk becomes, well, more generic. Yes, there is probably less danger. Although other people might be sick of not seeing their opinions being represented. And then I take action to make some noise. I mean, you go back to it. I think no matter what, you're going to get into extreme actions. Yeah. Some people, I mean, not you, but you see what I mean? Yeah. And you could justify it by either way. You could be justified by, well, I was censored, so I decided to make a point by doing something that's going to mark that's gonna leave an impact,
Mm-hmm.
or you heard it somewhere and you decide to take action. Either way, it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think I would feel a bit guilty for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're responsible for someone, going and doing some heinous, terrible shit to somebody else, like, but that's the thing, is like, if you just say dumb shit, like terrible shit, it's, I don't know, you can't be responsible for other people's actions, you know?
No, I don't think you can, because at this stage, I could be, I could be responsible for anything. Like, even as a kid, you say something bad, and another one kid takes action, and it's and you get into this world where you will not take the risk of saying anything, because potentially it could go back to you.
Yeah, and that's tyranny.
Yeah, well, that's censorship.
Yeah, people in free societies, well, I mean, I think in all societies you should be able to have free speech, barring direct calls for violence and, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's definitely fraught with, pitfalls. Like, free speech is, in a sense, it's dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but the alternative is even worse, way more dangerous to, because who gets to decide what is and isn't free speech? You want to be like China, where the government has full control over everything people say. Like, if you say anything negative about the regime, they're just like disappearing people left and right in China because they don't agree with the regime's policies. And nobody wants to live in a society like that. Well, nobody I know wants to live in a society like that. I don't think most people want to live in a society like that, or even Russia, where, if you say something bad about Putin or about the government, you're probably going to get disappeared, like, or at least thrown in jail and made an example of.
Yeah, or some kind of labor camp, or...
Yep.
No, in history, censorship has never done very good things.
No.
Censorship can work in some instances where it's very mild. There was somebody that said, famous person, not me, smart and famous, that said, there's a good thing in censorship, it forces you to be creative. That was a French saying. So the idea is that if you're not allowed to do something, but you still want to say it, but you're not about to say it, you might try to find roundabout ways to communicate to make that point. So in that sense, you become creative.
Yeah.
But then when it becomes extreme censorship, where not a single thing is accepted, it's like, well, at this stage, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, you're just forcing me to pick another narrative. No, that I cannot agree with.
Yeah. Yeah, feeling like you can't express yourself freely, like, it's no good. And unfortunately, Canada is kind of going in the wrong direction in this sense, with these different laws about, what you can and cannot say, how can you refer to a person, and, it's like coming from a place of trying to make the world a better place, but it's not good to tell people that they have to say things. Like, that's almost even worse than telling people that they can't say certain things. Saying that they have to say certain things. Like, you have to use certain words to refer to certain people. And if someone has an opinion, they believe something, you can't contradict that belief. It's... Yeah. Hopefully we don't go down the China route here in Canada.
Yeah, China is pretty much right now showing a big example of what not to do. It's tricky. Yeah, we went from one extreme to another, and it should be. I think a lot of people are getting soft.
Soft?
Well, because when you start telling people you don't have the right to say that, I mean, you have the legal right, but you don't have the social right, I guess, because I will do everything I can to cancel you.
Mm-hmm.
Then pretty much when you refuse to hear something that could hurt you in every possible way, then, well, if you get used to not hearing any of that, then if one day somebody tells it to you, that's when you got soft.
It becomes like the worst thing that you've ever experienced. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that people should be bullied just for the sake of getting strong and getting a strong will, because yes, bullying can make you strong. You get used to it. Like you get used to you grow through it. Obviously, other people stay traumatized by it. Not everybody just get good things out of it. But my point is, leave that freedom to other people. Know where you stand, and know that whoever you're talking to, first of all, whoever you're talking to should not be able to say something about your identity that is going to trigger you so much, because then you don't have a very strong confidence into who you are.
Yeah, you don't have a strong base of like, if someone calls you some terrible word, it's like, oh my God, they said it, and it's just, it's kind of like a sign of weakness in some sense.
I think so. Like, Mike Tyson said that actually in a podcast, but he was saying, they were talking about, I think, trash talking with his opponents back then and so on. He was saying, like, would that, like, mark you? Would that make you angry? And it's like, no. Because if they make me angry, well, they are my master. If master, if they change your mood, then you're weakened on them in some sense. So like, no, don't let that happen. Work on your confidence, work on your will, work on your identity. And your identity is yourself. If somebody doesn't want to use whatever pronoun or whatever that you don't like, it doesn't matter. You know who you are. And that's it. And of course, you don't want to talk to these people. Then you don't talk to them. Yeah. And they go their way, you go your way, and that's it. You won't be friends with everybody in the world. So surround yourself with people that you trust, that make you a good person, and you make them a good person in return. Whatever. I can get into that speech, but yeah. And if somebody says something that you don't like, well, you can always try to get into the debate first of all to see, okay, what are your intentions there? Like, did you make a mistake? Was it a slip up? Like some French guy using the wrong words? Or are you trying to hurt me because you want? Have a good day, sir. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah. Don't let that change your mood so much. Yeah. Yeah. If that triggers you, oh man, a lot of things are going to trigger you in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing, is the world doesn't comply with your wishes. Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't form itself based on how you want it to be. So yeah, it's like if people call you terrible shit, it doesn't feel good. No, but it's not fun. At the same time, it's like, well, that's their opinion. Yeah. People get to have their own opinion. Like, obviously, people aren't allowed to attack each other and do terrible shit. But for people just using words, like, I've heard this nonsense about how words are violence. It's like, no, violence is violence. Like, would you rather someone punch you in the face or call you a terrible name? Like, exactly. No, you're totally right. Like, think about doing any form of physical sport. Martial arts, rugby, American football. Yeah, soccer is physical. Yeah, there is some contact. Basketball. Anyway. Yeah. Well, some people might find it violent because, when somebody is like running to you and at a very fast speed, and because the point is to try to get the ball, go around you, whatever, you're blocking the way. Yeah, okay, there's gonna be physical contact. Some people might just not like this and say, oh well, soccer or whatever, other sports are too violent for me. Yeah, but they're not violent for me. Yeah. They're like, it's all perspective. Yeah, exactly. And I agree to do this, and I can do it back. But the point is, I don't have any malicious intent. I'm not trying to be vicious to you. I'm allowed to do this, and don't take it as violence. But intentions, to me, I feel when somebody has ill intentions towards me, it affects me way more. When somebody is genuinely trying to hurt me, I can still be like, okay, well, whatever, you do you. But at the same time, I'm like, why is this person genuinely trying to hurt me, mentally or physically? It's like, what have I done to them? Yeah. To get them to that point. Yeah. That actually, like, I will because that's like internal introspection.
Exactly.
I will ask myself this question. It makes you feel bad because it's like, oh, have I done something to make this person so upset with me? Which is, it's just sometimes the case, but not always.
If somebody comes to me and say, oh, do you agree that we're gonna punch each other for a bit with gloves? I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it nicely, of course. And we do. Yeah. And we saw so far no concussions. We don't punch hard. But I think we agree. Like, violence is also a very subjective concept. And maybe somebody takes something as violent, then they're like, okay, that was violent, so please don't do that again. It's like, yeah, but please accept a bit. Like, if you get into a debate where some words could be thrown at you that you really don't like, well, be prepared. It's not that it's going to get violent as in you have to engage into a war of words, but you should expect, in a debate you should be open, as in you should show some vulnerable side, because you're willing to accept and you're willing to change your opinion about things. So it means you're open. Otherwise, it could be just like, nope, that nothing's going to change about me, and no problem with that. Well, I'm not showing any weakness.
Yeah, but like not being able to have your opinions affected, it's so rigid. Like you just.
Well, I'm thinking about for myself. I don't think I'm the best human in the world, and I think that I can get better by listening to people, by exchanging with people. And I'm like, well, at least I'm being open for the sake of getting better. And if that doesn't work, if I feel that whatever people are telling me is not, maybe I can try it, think about it, doesn't seem to work, whatever, okay, I move on. But at least I give it a try. Yeah. And yeah.
But it's like you have a certain level of confidence in yourself. Like, you know who you are, you know what you believe, and you know that you might not know everything. Like, some people think they know everything, and like their opinions, their perspectives are the only thing that could ever possibly be correct.
I think one thing I can help with that is don't only talk to the same people about the same things. Yeah. And but also enjoy time with yourself to think. Not always, don't have your opinions always confirmed by people around you. It's great to be with like-minded people, but it's also great with people who are like-minded, but not exactly as minded. I don't know if it's okay to say that. But yeah, you might have different opinions than I on certain things, but when you say it, since I trust you, and you're smart and everything, I'm thinking, he has an angle, he has a perspective that is interesting, and maybe I will give it a go. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll try to change something about it, and maybe it will work, maybe it will not work for me. And I'm sure I'm doing that to you. The reason we're here talking and still hanging out and everything is because we're doing good to each other.
Yeah, it's so beneficial to talk to other people, and I love it when I can talk to someone and they don't have the same exact opinions. It's like talking to someone who agrees with you on every single thing about it. It's like it's boring. Like, it's the same. It's like, oh yeah, you believe X? Yeah, I believe X.
Oh yeah,
totally. Great. You believe Y? Yeah, we believe Y. Okay, yeah, we're good people because we both believe.
It's very true.
No. You want to watch this fight?
No, there's a fight coming up, guys. For the millions of people who are watching. We'll take a break here, and
I think it's billions now.
Oh, easy billions. And Joe Rogan is $1 billion plus one. I know. He's just on top of it. But let's take a break here, and see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.